Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we're going to talk about the properties of materials. So, let's start. The properties of materials. Materials are the substances from which objects are made. So, the use of each material depends on its properties. For example, copper is a good conductor of electricity. That's why we use it to make electric wires. So, we have to determine the use of the material according to its property. Let's take some examples of different properties of materials. Okay, first of all, the surface appearance. The material can be shiny as shown in the middle, or it can be dull like the rock. Also, the material can be rough like the bark of wood, or smooth like the surface of the egg. According to the strength, the material can be rigid or strong, or it can be flexible. Flexible means that you can bend it or squash it. And then, when you remove the force, it returns back to its original shape, like the elastic band. Also, it can be brittle, like the glass. Brittle means it breaks suddenly if you hit it or you bend it. It can also be malleable. Malleable means you can hammer it into a lot of shapes by bending it or by hammering it or by pressing it. For example, like the piece of wood, you can make from it a lot of shapes like bracelets, um, collet, gold rings, and so on. And ductile, which means you can stretch it into wire. Here are examples of the malleability of gold, where you can hammer it into a lot of shapes. So, according to the strength, again, the material can be brittle, which means it's going to break if you hit it or bend it. Malleable, it means you can hammer it into a lot of shapes. Flexible, it means that you can bend it or squash it, and then it's going to return to its original shape after the force is removed. And ductile, it means that you can stretch it into wires. Okay, according to the water permeability, the material can be waterproof or absorbent. Waterproof means a material that does not allow the water to pass through it, like the waterproof boots or the umbrella. They don't allow the water to pass through it. That's why your legs remain dry, and so your body and your clothes. If it's raining, for example. Water absorbent materials, it soaks up the water like the sponge. Those materials contain many holes that soak up the water, and then you can spill it afterwards in the sink. It's used to clean up, for example, the lab spills, like in the case of a sponge. So the absorbent contain many holes that soak up the water. According to the light permeability, the substance can be transparent, translucent, or opaque. Transparent, like this cup, it means that it allows the light to pass through it. Translucent, it allows some light to pass through it. While opaque, it does not allow any light to pass through it, so you cannot see what is behind it. Okay, in case of the transparent material, you can see what is behind it very clearly. But in the translucent material, you can see what is behind it blurred. In case of the opaque material, you cannot see what is behind it at all. This is an example of a translucent material. This is an opaque material where you cannot see what is behind. Also, the mirror is another example of an opaque material. This is an example of a translucent material, transparent. So, in the transparent material, all the light passes through it, or most of the light. In the translucent, only some light passes, and the part that passes also are scattered. The light that passes is scattered, while in the opaque material, no light pass through it, and that's why you cannot see what is behind. Conductors and insulators. We have conductors and insulators of heat and conductors and insulators of electricity. In the question, we have to specify. In this case, the pan, the metal part, is a good conductor of heat, where it allows the heat to pass through it and cook our food, while the plastic handle is an insulator of heat that does not allow the heat to pass through it and burn our hands. Um, Concerning conductor and insulator of electricity, the copper wires are good conductors of electricity. They allow the electricity to pass through it, while the plastic around it are insulators, and they do not allow the electricity to pass through it, and this prevents electric shocks. Here in this example, we can clearly see that the metal part is a good conductor of electricity, while the plastic one is a poor conductor of electricity. Okay, if you want to test a substance and see whether it conducts electricity or not, you can simply just place the substance in between an open circuit to close it, and then see if the light bulb lights up, then it's a conductor. If not, it's an insulator. So in this case, the wood is an electric insulator, while the metals are good conductors of electricity. Okay, so let's see here the metal. Why do we use it? Because it's a good conductor of electricity, while the plastic is a good insulator of heat. I'm sorry, I mean the metal is a good conductor of heat, while the plastic is a good insulator of heat. You can also test if the material conducts electricity or not. Even if this material is liquid, you're going to use the same method, but just dip the two ends of the wire, and they have to be exposed wire, not wrapped with plastic, into the liquid, and see again if the light bulbs lights up, then this liquid is a good conductor. If not, then it is an insulator of electricity. Let's see some real life applications. For example, a dustpan and a brush are used for cleaning. Why? They are both made of plastic. In case of the dustpan, the plastic is light and rigid, and in case of the brush, it is flexible. That's why I use it for cleaning. The cup or the glass, it's used for drinking because it's waterproof and transparent, and it's also easy to clean. The light bulb is used for seeing in the dark because the glass is transparent, and the metal part is a good conductor of electricity. So why do we make certain choices? For example, why do we use copper to make electric wires? Because they are good conductors of electricity. Why do we use copper to make a teapot or kettle? Because they are good conductors of heat. We use the plastic to make the swimming goggles because here it is transparent, it's light, and it is waterproof. We use the plastic to make cooking handles for cooking pans because they are good insulators of heat. Uh, we use the plastic to make buckets because it's light and it's less dense than water, so it's going to float on water, and you can the children can use it to play in the sea. And that's it for today's lesson. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.